Former First Lady Nancy Davis Reagan has died. She was born in 1921, but Nancy Reagan says her life really began when she married her husband, Ronald Reagan. In the 1920s, the future First Lady was adopted by a Chicago family. By the time she graduated school, then Nancy Davis became a professional actress. She landed a role on Broadway and several leading Hollywood roles.
Somehow I feel it's all my fault.
She met Ronald Reagan, a strapping young actor, in 1951. By the next year, the two were married in Los Angeles, a marriage that would last for 52 years. Mrs. Reagan retired from her Hollywood work and became a full-time mom. Ronald Reagan also changed roles, entering the world of politics. In 1967, Reagan was elected the governor of California, and Nancy Reagan began working with numerous charitable groups. She spent many hours visiting veterans, the elderly, and the emotional and physically handicapped. But it was her role as First Lady of the United States that pushed Nancy Reagan into the national spotlight.
I congratulate you, sir.
While it was clear that Nancy Reagan liked to be at her husband's side, she was also a very strong, independent woman, even campaigning independently for her husband. Once in office during her first years in the executive mansion, she directed a major renovation of the second and third floor quarters. While the changes, particularly the spending, were criticized at the time, many of the modifications still exist today and have become a historical part of the White House.
Just say no. Ooh, yeah.
During her husband's years in office, Reagan is credited with starting the Just Say No anti-drug awareness campaign.
What should you do when someone offers you drugs?
Say no!
What will you do when someone offers you drugs?
Say no!
She visited prevention and rehabilitation centers, and in 1985 held a conference at the White House for First Ladies of 17 countries to focus international attention on this problem. Nancy Reagan also gave her support to the foster grandparent program, the subject of her 1982 book, To Love a Child. Reagan also greatly contributed to her husband's efforts as president. In 1985, 87, and 88, while the Cold War was being waged, Nancy Reagan met with Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev's wife. The two women often had tea and discussed differences between the then USSR and the United States. When Ronald Reagan died of Alzheimer's disease in June of 2004, the nation watched as Nancy Reagan said goodbye to her husband over a week-long state funeral. These images brought America to tears as Nancy kissed the coffin of her beloved husband, Ronnie, saying farewell for the last time. Until her own death, Nancy Reagan resided in California, devoted to many of her lifelong causes, including supporting the GOP. She made a rare public appearance for her 91st birthday at the opening of a Walt Disney exhibit at the Reagan Presidential Library. Nancy Reagan held fast to her belief in love, honesty, and selflessness, saying these ideals have endured because they are right, and are no less right today than yesterday. Padmanandarama, The Associated Press.